Hi, this is Wendy. Thanks for listening. Um, this is the beginning of a second series of paintings that are reminiscent of my husband, my late husband, and my relationship. Us came together and our lives together, and this is the beginning. The first one I did um, was a 8 painting series that was reminiscent of our early days. It was from a dream that I had when he was first diagnosed with cancer. And there's 8 paintings in that, and it's in my daily painting series, which I've been trying to keep up with every day. But I've been painting, doing things every day, but keeping up with the videos and getting stuff out that has its challenges. Um, but I'm trying to break up each of these things into, like, I believe at least the first one was 8, and this next one I believe is going to be 8 paintings, and sort of keep them in that grouping. And the next one um, actually kind of comes before a lot of the scenes that were in the first one, but um, I'm just sort of working through and letting uh, I letting all these images that I have of us together, and I just need to get them out there. And that first one, that dream, was just sort of echoing in my head, and I wanted to get those out. So my husband always said, pick the low hanging fruit first, and that was the low hanging fruit. So I got those done, and I'm happy that I got those done, and I'm trying to move forward, and so that's why I've made myself do this series that, um, because it's things that I want to do, and by sort of making myself accountable by saying I need to paint every day, it pushes me to do that. And even if I mess up or don't at times, or I don't get to the videos, I just, you just got to keep picking up and moving forward. And I'm just helping it, hoping all this stuff helps process some of the stuff that I've been going through after I lost him. He passed away this past spring. So this next series is The Night We Met. And the first painting that is Walking into Your Door. And that's literally what I did. Um, I actually met my husband through his daughter. He had he was married before we were together, and he had 2 daughters, and he had them pretty young. And his first wife was 13 years older than him, and he was 16 when they got together. Um, and I think he was just always in a hurry to grow up, and I don't know, you know, life is what it is. And I met his daughter through work. We both worked at the same construction company, canvassing, going around house to house, sort of trying to get them people to take the free assessment for their roof. And we were put together. We got along, and I had just moved to Florida and stuff like that, so I really didn't know all that many people. And we stayed friendly uh, for a lot for we have dinner together once in a while, or you know and hang out. And years, probably 3 years after we had first met, is when I met her dad. He had lived on the west coast of Florida, and he had moved back in that past year, but I hadn't really met him. And her and I were hanging out one day, and we felt like going out and drinking and dancing and that sort of stuff. And we were looking for someone to drive us. And she called her dad. And he he said he would drive us, and she was, first she was gonna have her boyfriend, but he couldn't do it at first. And then when we went to go to her dad's house, and we're sitting there and we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do and where we're gonna go and stuff, and we're just sitting there smoking and stuff and hanging out, and um, her boyfriend called and said that he could make it, and so that meant that automatically there was four of us, and he was automatically the driver. So my husband, not my husband at the time, but Vince didn't have to be the driver because he did not drink, her boyfriend. And so, you know, it just meant, we were going to go out and, hang out and stuff like that. And so it just sort of uh, developed from there. Um, it's a crazy story, I know. Uh, and as the more and more details come out, it is even more. But yeah, so we went out, and in this picture right here, we're walking into his door, and that was my cats knocking stuff down all over the place. Good times. Um, uh, okay, I just had to pause that to pick up a disaster, but that's okay. uh, they're a little rambunctious. These three little cats that are always running around. You do occasionally see them when I'm painting. But anyway, back to the painting. Um, we actually showed up there that night with a pitcher full of margaritas already mixed, ready to go. We were both sort of looking to lift our moods, and just wanted to go out and not think about things, and go out and have a good time. And that was our general plan. We wanted to go out dancing and have fun. But Vince and I, pretty quick, soon as, even before we knew that her boyfriend was going to come along as well, and her boyfriend was actually even older than her dad, so that was you know, um, and she, Vince and I just had a connection. We got along. We got each other's jokes. We um, just uh, had a real easy time. Of there was very little awkwardness, really. It was like we had known each other for a long time, and it was just real easy to talk to him, and um, you know and joke around, and just uh, it was weird. It was kind of like coming home, and I really felt that later on. But it was pretty immediate. Like when we first met, it was just the comfort level that I felt when I met him was as if I was meeting someone that I had known my whole life, and it was just real easy. So it made for a good night, and it was a I had been in sort of a I don't know, funk or whatever it was. It just was not whatever, and I think he was too. Both of us were sort of in this sense, and when we met each other, it was kind of like we answered something for each other. Like we had sort of like pushed aside that we were going to meet someone that we could sort of get along with and really was sort of our person. And when we did meet, it was sort of a surprise to both of us, but it hit us both pretty hard. And I felt, it's the type of thing, when you first meet someone, of course, it's infatuation, it's lust, it's whatever. It's just all these different things. But depending on how you look at life, where are those ties? Are they in eternity? Have we met these people before? Are they part of us? Are we all one part of something? It's just that that energy is forever. And what is the answer? It's a hard thing to say. Sometimes it seems like it's right there. Like it's so close, and it just seems like um that, oh, I figured it out. And then other times it seems really, really far away. Like, but one thing I can say is I really don't feel like there's nothing. I've had too many weird experiences in my life that I just feel like there's got to be something else. I don't know what it is, or to even begin to understand it. But my views have definitely changed and evolved, and um, I can barely explain them to me, more or less other people. But I know that my experience through my life and going through watching my husband of 28 years get sick and die um, changed me profoundly. And I don't, I think life is an amazing thing. And I think we have to um, honor that and be who we want to be, do the things we want to do, accomplish the things we want to do. And that's sort of what I'm trying to capture in these pictures. These are things that I need to get out. I have this thing where I love telling stories with pictures, because sometimes the words are just really hard to find. They're just out of reach, just hanging there. And but sometimes I feel like it comes out better in a painting. It means more. There's a understanding, and maybe the understanding can't even be explained, but it can be felt. And ultimately, what matters to me is that when I look at the paintings, they make me happy. And if other people can get things from them, that's a beautiful thing too. And it doesn't even have to be anything that I'm getting from them. If it brings them to a place or a memory of their own, or whatever, I think that it's a nice thing when we can interconnect with each other, and art can be a real wonderful place to bond. It's I think it just touches that part of us that is hard to reach. in our souls, in our heart. It goes beyond. When you listen to an amazing piece of music, the way it moves us, inspires us. That's a beautiful thing. And I also think that if you're struggling with something, that's a good place to sort of go, And you don't have to be a proficient artist, you know? Like if you feel like you need to pound on the drums, then you go and you pound on those drums. And you can do it alone, or you can do it in a drum circle. You'll just sort of fade into the crowd, man. You just sort of become, and the energy, you get sucked up into it. You don't have to be fabulous, but you could also do it alone if you want to. And then you just have the freedom to let it be, just go for it, and have fun with it, create. It has a way of soothing the soul. And I think when you're struggling with things, it's a good place to sort of go and work that stuff out. And at least I know it's worked for me. And I know life could be a struggle. And everybody's got it. Seems to be contagious. But life has a lot of amazing things in it too. And that's a beautiful thing. Just figuring out how to navigate this stuff, it's not always straightforward. And yeah, there's, things out there you could do, and you could do therapy, and you could do whatever. And believe me, I've thought about the therapy route, and I'm not, if it's for you, go for it. I just would rather talk to complete strangers on the internet. Uh, no, I'm trying to, I know I'm talking about this stuff and whatever, but it's just ultimately, the talking, I guess, lets me air out stuff. So I want you to know, you don't want to listen to me ramble on, but you do want to watch me paint. Turn me on mute and put on some music and listen to that, and you can watch me paint. I watch people paint all the time. It can be relaxing, but like I said, you don't need to listen to me chatter on if you don't want to. You can just put it on mute and go forward. In this picture, there's going to be 3 of us. There's his daughter, and she'll be to the left at the door, and then there's going to be me just at the edge of the stairs coming up, and then my husband, Vince, opening the door. And it's when we first see each other. And it just grows from there pretty fast. Pretty much a week later, I moved in with him, so, we weren't wasting time. But I like to think it's because we knew we had limited time in this universe, and so we took advantage of it. And actually, in almost 17 years, we've been 17 years this August 28th. My husband was given a diagnosis. His heart was pretty weak, and he was told that he would live maybe a year at most, and if he quit drinking and smoking, maybe 2 years. And he did quit drinking and smoking, and he made it almost 17 years. Now, 3 of those years he was struggling with cancer, and maybe more because him and I struggled with going to the doctor about stuff, and so he had the cancer. But it is what it is, and we can't change that. And I just, it's something that can't be really measured. Because I wouldn't give up that time that he had the cancer, although I wish we never went through it, if that makes sense. But we had, um, our relationship always sort of moved forward. In relationships, they have to. You have to grow together. If you don't grow together and become better people, and just move forward, then it's not going to work. You have to grow together, and Vince and I definitely did. And part of that growth happened the first time he got sick, um, which he overcame, and even refused to get a pacemaker. Said no and got himself healthy, and strong, and defied odds, beyond odds, and then he fought like hell against the cancer. It took a lot before he let go. Um, he was a fighter and wasn't going to go quietly if he could help it. But it was a journey, and it just made me see just who we were a lot clearer and where we were coming from. But that kind of clarity comes at a great cost. And I'd give anything to go back and redo moments. So that's kind of what I'm doing with these paintings. I'm reliving the moments. But I'm also bringing them to life. you know, and it's something to me that's important to me. And I've spent a lot of time painting, you know, things for other people. And I am, I know I've mentioned this in videos before, and I cannot say I am happy for all the stuff that I've painted, and all my experiences, and just everything. They make you who you are. All those things, and I wouldn't be who I am today, or the artist I am today, without all those things. So every commission and every class that I taught, and every discovery another artist made, my presence or growth, all those things affected me. It made me a better person, a better artist, and you never will reach that pinnacle. It's never you just reach like these little steps, and that's kind of what the grouping of these paintings as well. I didn't want it to make if I sat there and went, oh, well, I want to paint our whole life and this whole journey, that seems overwhelming. But if I do it in groups, and I'll see how the groups develop and what I go and do, and um, it seemed a little bit more reachable, and that's what I'm doing. So that's why I had the 8 in the first group, and then we're gonna have 8 in this. And 8 to me is a good substantial number. It's a symbol of eternity, so I like the number. And it isn't so huge that it's not insurmountable, that it's someplace I can reach. I can go, okay, well, I can do those 8 paintings, and it doesn't seem so overwhelmed. And each time I finish a group of them, there's going to be that sort of like, oh, awesome, so what's the next one? And I'm trying to learn to sort of push myself in a way, uh, because I can become sort of thorn stuck in the headlights about things, and I think a lot, and I did just get stuck in my head, and I don't want to do that. I want to be more action and less thought, because life is short, and it just disappears before you know it. And losing my husband this year and my mom, all within 2 months, showed that to me more than anything. And it's not that I didn't know, but and I've experienced death in the past, but not like this. You know, your husband and your mom, those are big things. Big, 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 big things. I know people go through worse, and we're expected to lose our parents and even our spouses. And I'm very lucky in so many ways. So many ways. And I want to hold on to that. Now, in a lot of these early days, because the first 10 years that Vince and I were together, we were heavy smokers. And so you'll see us. I'm going to put it in, And, you know, that's who we were. And I want to record it, a little, the picture as it was. I I don't know. I always feel a little extra exposed when I'm doing these, but I think that's part of it because I feel like I walk around a lot and I can't, you know, you don't want to go through the grocery store and be sobbing down the aisles. Uh, or, sitting in a restaurant and start crying. Or car's a good place to cry though, especially if you're alone. Um, as long as you're not, totally out of control. Just a good sort of quiet weep. The car can be okay. But if it gets too intense, pull over. And because sometimes you don't know what's going to trigger you. It just sort of hits you. And it's not something you want to take out in public if you can avoid it. But sometimes you feel like you want to. That is a weird thing though, because one of the problems is like everywhere I go, I'll go someplace and I'll go out to eat, and it'll be well-meaning, But my dad, he'll know somebody. He'll be like, "Oh, this is my daughter, the one who lost her husband just past Easter," and he means well, and he just lost his wife, and they know that or whatever, and I know he means well, but it's, I don't know, awkward. It's like, I know it's not meant with any sort of malice or anything that he's saying that, or other people say that kind of stuff at all. And I know it's met with kindness. And usually it's in reference to something like they obviously had spoken to them before about their daughter whose husband just passed away. And, or other people who do the same thing. It's just happened with my dad recently, and it's happened before with him, and it's fine. And he's going through his own thing for sure. Um, and I do kind of understand that, because part of you wants people to know. Like I went to the bank today because my card was hacked, which sucks. And so I had to go there, and I had been avoiding the bank, quite frankly, dealing with some stuff. And so I was like, oh, so I went prepared to deal with some other stuff that I had to deal with at the bank, as well as this. And I'm like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. And I kept pushing it back, but I'm sitting there. I have to sit there and talk about the fact that my husband is dead, because that's part of what I'm dealing with, right? I have to do it. And most of the time, how I hold it together is by pretending that he's not. Pretending that he's at home. Pretending everything's okay. Not talking about it. But there's sometimes you have to talk about it. You have to go out. And it's like, okay, how am I going to talk about this and not freak out on you? My husband was the type of person that said, as a man, that you're always the last person to cry. You don't, you know, wait till everybody's left the funeral and then you can cry. I remember the first time I ever saw him cry. We cats are causing havoc again. We had a dog named Scarlet, and she caught parvo, and she came that way. She was as a puppy. She obviously, her mother had didn't have the vaccine, and anyway, it was he was sitting up in the middle of the night, and he knew, that she was really sick, and he was just holding her, and he was crying, and Vince was not a big crier, but dogs and grandbabies, and his children, those, touched his heart. He loved animals, and he loved babies, and sometimes you can't help it, and it's okay to cry. If I didn't cry, I would explode, you know, and that would be not a good thing. So you cry, and it releases that, so that you can go on and move forward and try to do better tomorrow or in an hour. Whatever your timeline's giving you, try to make it happen. So this is me marching forward. And this is part one of this painting. Just because I'm painting every day doesn't mean I'm finishing the painting every day. I'm just making sure that I get time in and paint, and it varies for how long it is. This one, it's like I think 44 minutes. I will, as I have with the previous ones, once I'm finished, speed it up, and put out, a little version, depending on how long it takes to do the painting. But between like 10 and 15 minutes generally, I shorten it up. And then I'll do a super fast one at the very end, like for a short. So if you'd rather watch those, you can wait till those come out as well. I do the one that's slightly longer, just if you want to see stuff, um, how you're doing something, then you need to go up and uh, watch it at a better pace. So I have these. Check it, like I said before. Turn off the audio if you don't want to listen to me talk. Um, or you can watch the other ones. I like to do this, slightly sped up one, which is pretty sped up because a lot of these are usually about, 3 hours or longer that I've worked on them. And like I said, I speed them up to between 10 and 15 minutes depending on the length. Um, and just whatever, put some background music on it and let you watch that. And then I do the super sped up one, just sort of so you can sort of see the process, even though it's like, insanely missing parts just being fast. But that's groovy. That works. I dig it. These cats are insane. They are jumping, climbing up my back, jumping off my shoulders, landing in front of me. Because I am doing audio at a separate time. I am painting. I'd never be able to paint and do the audio at the same time. I mean, it would just be, it's bad enough when I'm doing the audio and I'm not doing something else. But if I was sitting there painting, I wouldn't be able to get into that zone of the painting if I was worried about talking and doing stuff all the time. But they are just nuts. They are climbing everywhere like little crazy cats. And they're just they're gonna have to go outside soon. They are just crazy. But we've been keeping them inside because we have a bunch of feral cats outside, and we want to make sure that our dogs know these are our cats, and get them well acclimated to, being inside, because they did originate out there for all those other feral cats, and we don't. I can't tell you how many kittens have come from that, but we don't always take them. But Potato, the calico we have, she just walked right up to my daughter and was like, I want to come inside. And she was the beginning of that. We actually caught 4 of them and found a home for 1 and ended up with 3. So they're adorable, but they are insane right now tonight. Like little maniacs. But they've been a nice distraction, having them around. But I am going to have to tie down all this. They're just nuts, the things they get into. They just are like trashing the place here. A little crazy, a little too much energy for 11 o'clock at night, though not for them. I do tuck them away in the middle of the night because it forces them to be quiet, because they've not, I'm sleeping, they'd be running back and forth across me all night long. So that is number 1, because they love me and think that I should be all excited to play with them all night long, all the time. And sometimes that just can't happen. So I sort of tuck them away in a little home thing for them. And, they got food, water, and litter, and all that kind of stuff in there. They're fine because it makes them settle down. They quiet down. And they get some rest. They're all good. And then they're out the rest of the day. And that'll only last so long. But they're still young. So that's what we do with them at the moment. I did try to set up. I have a really big dog, about 145 pounds. I don't know her exact weight, but somewhere in there. And she's part Great Dane. And anyway, so I have like a big cage for her, but she hasn't been using it lately. It's there if we needed it, or we were going somewhere or something like that. Anyway, it didn't work, and I have to come up with a new plan with that, or a new area for it. But thanks for listening, and you have a great night. Take care. Have a beautiful day.